Namaskar to everyone. It's again that wonderful period of the year where we talk about Caitya, the Kriya Lila Tekken. It's a house that is illuminated with the light of our own self, our own consciousness, that which we all seek to know. We talk about the projections of the mind, that it's easier for us to relate and connect under various names, under various sects, under various kind of process. Each of the names we believe that they are the supreme, they are the ultimate, they are the beginning of the beginning, they are the creators, they are the gods we should be worshipping. But then we find that there's a hierarchy in most of the places. Certain places we find only one name. Certain places we have few more names added up, and each of these names have their own relevance as per the nature, place, society, culture, ethics, which have changed over thousands of years, some millions of years. How much we know about them is crucial for us to really know. We believe that they are the known things, but they are also unknown. We fear the unknown, we love the known, we easily connect to the known, for it's easy for us to relate. We believe in our family members, surrounding relatives, and we accept what they say. That belief over a period of time evolves. With the passage of time, as it evolves, you find the things have changed, the things transform. It allows a person to evolve, to relate to deeper aspects of the energy in a different platform. When we say deeper aspect of the platform, meaning we know some things are not very sure, some things are not very clear, some things are still creating doubts. Then we say the seeking is there, but we are not able to quench the thirst. The thirst is something that one should be familiar with. The thirst is something one should have acquired taste to it. We have been understanding that certain things told in a certain manner will quench the thirst. But we are extremely careful, and we are very sure that we divide our life in multiple areas. The areas where we want to connect to the world outside, we change our thoughts, we adapt, we accept, and we say that what we know and what we realize as the truth of life is part of me for evolution, and the world around me is quite separate from that. It's got its own philosophy, it's got its own science, it's got its own relationships, but those are quite different from the way I am trying to evolve myself. When you look back at most of the thought process, it is saying that there's a duality. We always talk about oneness. In the oneness we have duality. In the duality we have multiple layers to it. Even in the oneness also we have multiple layers to it. We adapt, we change, we bring about a condition and thought process that works with the oneness at one level, but it looks very familiar to the duality. We have multiple things happening at the duality level, yet we find oneness in them. But both of them are working at the external levels. The sensory perceptions are accustomed to understand and relate to certain aspects of the life in a certain manner. When it understands and accepts certain things in a certain manner, you find that the whole evolution process is not bound by the self but by the conditioned mind. We have been hearing stories of our past which was wonderful, which was beyond what we know today, what we could even comprehend. Huge literatures are filled with that. But then we call that as past or as part of a legend or a myth. With passage of time, we also accept what we understand now is part of my life. But based on that duality, we are creating our life as a complex scenario. The oneness has to be one everywhere. The duality is a projection only. The oneness is again an aspect which gets projected based on the mindset of an individual. It keeps on expanding. It keeps on getting connected at various levels. These various levels have a proper way of enhancement of the knowledge of an individual to appeasement of the senses. But when we go deeper to our own self, we find that there are certain kind of emotions we can relate to easily. We find those emotions are quite familiar, quite known, quite similar throughout the world. So what we did, all the huge treatise what we have, we try to emulate that to appease our own perception and knowledge. But imagine a scenario where the light within is just a spark. The whole infinite universe. It keeps on shining like a star. You can connect to the star, you can feel the star, know the star, relate to the star, name it. But will you become a star is a big question. The star within you is the same star what you see outside. The body is a projection only. When we talk about the projection, it is getting conditioned by the self. This self is an experience that keeps changing after a very short interval. It's an appeasement of the senses. But imagine a scenario where you feel contented, where you feel happiness, where you find bliss. Not in momentary stanzas, but in a continuous flow, where you find there's a beginning and an end. That is momentary. But when you find that it's part of you, remove that and your existence does not become part of the universe. The whole core of you is lighted up. You become the shining star. That star is your conscious. There are thousands and thousands of layers of the state of consciousness. Each layer, when you peel off, you find that there's another layer which is getting connected to you. But when the you vanishes, there's no connection. You become the conscious. Till that moment of time, the conscious has a name. It's a reference point. What you understand as a reference point, as the source of inspiration for you, the core of most of the religions, are nothing but the projection of the body and the mind. But when you talk about the core of the conscious, there is no reference. You will understand the layers, yes. You will find it does not have a reference point to it. It allows you to merge, it allows you to emerge, it allows you to connect, it allows you to reconnect. In the vast expanse of time, beyond the time created by the man or the life forces. The time and space is something what we created. There is nothing called time and there is nothing called space. We all are space and we all are time. In that time, we are looking at a space. It becomes a reference point. But if we are not the time or the space, what remains is a state of consciousness that allows one to expand to the state of knowing the unknown and knowing the unknown known. You will find references happening in a lot of places, but those references have lost the zeal, the connectivity. The fire within has changed. The expression of the fire also has changed. Fire is a projection of conscious. At what level of conscious it is getting projected matters more than how one is perceiving it. At what level of energy it is getting connected to matters more than what level of matter it is emerging from. Both the ways, the depth would be higher, relevance would be deeper, expanse would be infinite. All when you are doing, it's a process, it's a method, it's a tool which talks about the deities you know, the unknown deities that has merged back in time. It talks about all the deities who might come in the future. It also talks about of no deities. It does not talk about God or godliness. That is the experience one should be gaining at every single moment of time. Again, the time here is a reference. Remove the reference and what you get is a state of consciousness. That is the illuminated self. The steps, the process, the methods, the tools are all a way that leads to a state of consciousness that allows you to understand and know that this is not the end. This is not the beginning too. For you are not the beginning or the end. And there is no midpoint here. There is no reference point. You being here conditioned is a reference point. In an unconditioned mode, the reference doesn't exist. That is the whole beauty of Kriya Lila Takan. Namaskar to everyone. Thank you. Have a blissful Caitya Diwas.